This is the number one most common question I get in my comment section.
How do you do that stuff? It's
How do you
insane.
do the defense?
Are you guys simulating the
you have
games?
multiple
Is this
devices
a
with
mod
full
or
save-
How do you
something
do
that-
defense and the broadcasts?
This is the number two most common question in the comments.
When new episodes?
this-
RBTV and RSR on a
Where is the new
hiatus?
video? I'm
Are you
bored.
dead?
Well, the answer to number two is
Not dead yet.
and I'll go over the plans for the channel after I answer question number one. I appreciate everyone that's still watching the old episodes and for their concern. For anyone new to the channel, I make videos that imitate radio and TV broadcasts using Retro Bowl for the gameplay. You can click here to watch the whole series up to this point. Also, this is my first appearance out of character and don't expect many others unless some plans come to fruition. Disclaimer! This is an overview of my process and not a video editing tutorial. I'm completely self/YouTube taught,
Ball so hard, University.
and I'll talk about some good channels that I learned from at the end of the video.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that.
Disclaimer number two. Just to be sure everyone is aware, there is no defense in Retro Bowl. My videos are completely just edited footage to make it seem like there is defense. And I hope that pulling the curtain back on the process doesn't ruin some of the excitement for some people watching, but I just hope to answer your questions in a more fulfilling way than a quick comment. So let's make a Retro Bowl broadcast. Step one, recording. So this is the easy part and the most important part, really. I go into my Houston save and I go into every single screen before I play the game. I want to get all the stats, all the rosters, all the schedules, all that stuff because I never know what kind of screenshots I'll want for my videos. Then I go play the game, the simplest part. I make sure to record with Do Not Disturb on because it's burnt me a couple times where people text me. Not that I ever get any texts.
You have no friends.
And for the game, I make sure to record slowly. So I have replays on for every play and I watch every single one of them all the way through to get the recording. This is because, once again, I don't know what I'll want to use in the final video. Once the game's over, same thing as before the game, every screen just once through so I can screenshot it later. Now on to the more complicated part of recording, which is getting my defensive
On the ball at
drives.
the 20. On first down, it'll be a throw. Drew Beard finding Ty Marriott. He slips past the defender.
And I start by hopping into my notes app and I'll make notes of what happened to my defense while rewatching my actual Houston save. So I'll note the direction that the drive goes in, the result, and sometimes the plays that happen in there to provide a little bit more context. And if anybody's watched my videos, they kind of know the results of all my defensive possessions. So after getting the outline, I head back into Retro Bowl into one of my other saves, and I start to edit the uniforms of one of my teams. I'll make my team in that save the opponent for my Houston game, and then I'll make the team I'm playing against in the other save the Houston uniform. And that's really the whole magic behind this thing, is just changing the uniforms and then recreating the drives. Once the recording's done, I'll either let them upload to iCloud because I can download the unmodified originals, or if I'm in a hurry, just pop them into Google Drive.
Step 2, editing.
So I'll download my files and then I'll start with the Adobe Creative Cloud. This is what I use for all my videos. Adobe Premiere Pro is the main force behind all this stuff. So I pop my files into there and I have projects built that are kind of like templates for everything. And I'll get into more of that stuff, but I really just begin with editing my Houston gameplay footage. I'll chop up my plays with all the replays and discarding the ones I don't want. And then I edit in my opponent's footage to match where it would fall in the actual game. And then once it's built into a cohesive game, I export it out and get it ready for play-by-play.
Step 3, writing.
Writing is my biggest challenge when it comes to making these videos. So I script all of the radio shows, the pre-game shows, halftimes, and post-game shows. I had started with unscripted, but it just doesn't flow as well for me. The only thing that's unscripted at this point is the play-by-play.
We'll do it live!
My notes are filled with all sorts of ideas, the names for the players as I come up with them, ideas for commercials.
Head on. Apply directly to the forehead. Head on.
Besides the recording, this is the most important part of the videos. It's kind of the brains of the operation.
Big brain time.
Step 4, record the voiceover. So for the voiceover, I always start out with my scripted parts first. So like the pregame show for a full game. Then I get into the play-by-play where I open up the video file I rendered out and I call the game as I'm watching it, basically, bouncing back between Colt and Fish.
26 yards, 5 Savage.
Well, Garvin had all day, and they left that DB on an island with Savage.
And I screw up all the time.
thing sucks!
So I leave some of those screw-ups in there on purpose to kind of lend some authenticity to the characters. And a lot of times my screw-ups are because it's hard to bounce back and forth between the two voices.
Garvin had all day to make this throw, and they left that Garvin had...
God damn it.
Savage catches the corner.
God damn it. I kind of created Fish's character because he would be hyped up, an Andrew Catalan type character.
Wilson looking end zone wide open. Touchdown! First NFL touchdown.
And the comment that said Fish was giving him Gus Johnson vibes makes me really happy because that's kind of the idea.
Good snap. Lead home for the win.
And then Colt's kind of morphed because it was hard for me to really get his voice on command. And my recordings are full of me saying the same lines over and over and over again.
Step 5. Edit the audio.
For the audio files, I use Adobe Audition, and I've built sessions in here as well that already come with my effects that I use for each character. I also have some of my sound effects that I use to give like some design to phone callers or the press conferences and kind of mask the different voices too. Most of my effects are really just kind of give texture to the voices and add to that distinction between them, at least to the best that I can do while sitting in my room and screaming into a closet full of clothes right next to some metal doors. For Wolfie, the female reporter, I kind of pitch my voice up a little bit, and I kind of pitch my voice down a little bit for some of like the opening and closing pieces.
Back to the Houston season preview.
And in here, I just kind of chop it all up and get rid of all those screw-ups that I don't want, and I'll mix it down and send it over to Adobe Premiere.
Step 6. Sound design for the video.
Now it's time to match up the play-by-play with the actual gameplay, and this isn't too challenging because it usually matches up pretty well since I did it while watching the video. I do add my own crowd noise, and another thing I'm proud of is pretty much most of what you see is home-brewed, including the crowd noise, which I recorded at a baseball game.
Step 7. Produce the video.
Now this is where my projects come in with all my pre-built assets. I'll usually start with the pre-game and start using my assets like the nest here with Colt and Fish and putting them in places where I know I won't have a visual to go along with it. I'll pull in recordings of past episodes if I want to reference back to something, or I'll create an entirely new recording with just some uniform swaps to show the opponents' footage from their last week. I put that in air quotes. Then it comes to the gameplay and the scoreboard. I built the scoreboard out of color mats in Premiere. It is nothing too fancy, but it's all nested together so I can put it anywhere and change anything about it that I want. And I already pre-animated it, so I just need to adjust the text at this point. One of the last things I'll do here is edit in the music. I pay a third-party service for all of the music that I use, but I think it gives a lot of energy to the videos.
Step 8. Graphics.
So all the graphics are either homebrewed in Premiere or lifted from the gameplay in Photoshop. Photoshop is one of the coolest programs in the Creative Suite, but it's also one of the ones that I just know the least about. And that's why I use Premiere, and I use color mats for pretty much everything. I just scale them down into the sizes I want, and then I'm able to keyframe them to animate the way that I want them to. As far as the text goes for my graphics, I started by using a font called Sabo, and I really like how it looks. It looks close to the gameplay. And then D4 on Discord turned me onto a font called Press Start Player 2, and it gets closer to the Retro Bowl font, but I like using a combination of the both. And I've enlisted the help of D4. I'm gonna put his link in the description. He's gonna do some work on future graphics, and I used his idea in the pregame show for Hefe.
Step 9. Pixel art.
Now the pixel art is really step 1 in a way, because it wouldn't be possible without having these assets built first. I started drawing the characters before I ever recorded anything really, because I knew I would need a visual to go along with my voiceover. I use a program called Piskel because it was the easiest one to figure out for me, and I have no artistic talent. I love that all my characters T-pose because they look very dominant on screen, and it just kind of adds to the derpy aesthetic of all my videos. The scenes I built are very simple. They're partially built in Piskel and partially built with color mats in Premiere, just kind of to expand them. And then I got into drawing the logos for my graphics, and it's fun, but it's hard and I'm not good at it. So maybe there'll be some collaboration with more talented people than I am.
I suck.
Step 10. Commercials.
Now this is really the last big part of the production. They were inspired from GTA commercials back in the day.
Would you like a giraffe? Have one delivered.
And they're super fun to record with my partner. She comes up with some of her own lines for her parts and comes up with the ideas for them. It's really a blast to do those, and we still listen to some of them. And then for the video portion, it's just text. I just animate the text doing all sorts of stupid stuff as the lines pop up. That's typically the last thing I'll add to the video.
Step 11. Finishing touches.
So now, right before rendering, grab a screenshot to help make a thumbnail. While it's rendering, I'm in Photoshop, plopping in certain assets that I'm using thematically as thumbnails, but I don't know what I'm doing. And then off it goes to YouTube, and you guys get to watch it. And I get to sit there and panic and wonder if anybody's gonna like it. So that's making a full game. There are some big production differences with the radio shows. I thought they would be easier when I first started this, but they turn out to be more of a challenge because I have to find footage to correspond with what I'm talking about. This is probably a lot longer than I thought. I hope it's long enough for you to get an idea of how I make the videos, because more than anything, it was just one idea, which is you could edit the uniforms and then create the defensive plays. Now, before we get on to the plans for the channel, I just want to give a few thank yous. Most importantly, to you for watching. It's exciting to me to have so many people watch this and enjoy this. I really expected, to get 10 views and 2 comments that both say cringe. And the community has been so welcoming, and I really appreciate people still watching the videos, from months ago. And I'm excited to make new ones and see where this series can go. My biggest thank you has to go to my biggest supporter. She's my co-star on the commercials, and she wants to be a YouTuber one day, so say hi.
Hello?
It's a lot of fun to do this stuff with her and kind of go through the process together. My videos wouldn't be possible, though, without the game at the center of it. Simon and the team at New Star Games have done an amazing job with Retro Bowl, and it's just so impressive what he's been able to do creating and maintaining this game and building the community. It's such an impressive accomplishment. And I really want to praise the community who's reached out to me since starting on YouTube. There's a few YouTubers who have all welcomed me, and we've started relationships. It's been pretty cool, and especially my boy Hefe Zai. I so appreciate him letting me be a part of some of his biggest videos of the year, and just inviting me to do that is super cool. It's been fun to do some of the goofy stuff together. It's pushed me creatively, and a little extra exposure doesn't hurt. And then great moments in 8-bit sports history. He reached out to me from day one when I started posting, and we've cut it up over a whole bunch of stuff, and he's a great dude. And in my comments, some people say that I'm underrated. Dude, no one is as underrated as he is. And I appreciate his friendship. Now, on to the future. The next video will be the long-awaited trade deadline special that broke my spirit 4 months ago. It just became bigger than I thought it was going to be, and it's not even a long video, but it's finally done, and I'll post it in a week. And then will come the much hyped up New England primetime game. I still don't know how I'm going to make it look primetime, but I'm working on that now, and I should have that ready pretty soon. And then the schedule after that will be not consistent. It takes a lot of time and a lot of creative energy for me to make these videos, so I will at least impose a short-term goal of completing this first season. I have some really cool, or at least what I think, are really cool long-term plans for the channel if I'm able to make them happen. I'm not going to go too far into them because I don't want to say stuff and then not come through, but I have ideas of things I think will be cool. Some of them involve Twitch and live streaming, some of them involve a league on Twitter, and then some of them involve other retro games and other people. I love Hoop League Tactics. I can't wait for the release of Hoopland quality games. It looks awesome, and I'm excited for any of these things that I'm able to actually get to do. Some people ask me to broadcast their games, and I don't have a way to do it yet, but it could be something that's in the future. If you have other questions about how I make the videos, drop them in the comments, and I'll try my best to explain anything. So new video soon. I love the comments about the series and how much people are getting into this. I want people to invest because I'm invested, and it makes this so much more fun for me. Thanks for watching.